We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air.
It was always assumed that any bombers coming from the German forces would be based in Germany itself, and therefore Northern Ireland was considered more or less out of reach, therefore less vulnerable, therefore no need to worry about it.
The sirens went off, and it was a lone raider. One German aircraft came in.
Remember stopping just above the main bend in the Horseshoe Road and looking over the city, and I could see the pattern of where the bombing had taken place. Very, very frightening, very, very frightening. It was.
By 1940, with much of Europe under German occupation, the Luftwaffe aircraft now had the range to reach Northern Ireland. With the country's increasing contribution to wartime production, it wasn't long before the distinctive sound of German aircraft could be heard overhead.
I had a big interest in anything I heard at night. It was an aircraft. I could stand at night in the dark and tell you what type of aircraft went over. We knew the engines. We knew the sound of the engines. Now, the night the Germans came down, well, actually, I think it was a fortnight before it, the sirens went off, and it was a lone raider. One German aircraft came in, probably finding the path in.
The main targets as far as the Luftwaffe was concerned were Belfast, of course, where the bulk of the population lived and where industry was concentrated, and also the port of Londonderry, which as the war progressed became an ever more important and vital base in the Battle of the Atlantic. From the early stages of the war, the Luftwaffe was engaged in reconnaissance flights, frequent reconnaissance flights over the United Kingdom to take photographs of likely targets that they would in due course attack. Lots of reconnaissance photographs were taken of Belfast and Londonderry, and indeed the new airfields that were being constructed.
But it wouldn't be long before the German planes returned, this time armed with more than just cameras and film.
The guns were stationed on Cave Hill, and you'd have heard the guns going off. That's when you knew there was an earth. There wasn't so much, no television or anything you see. No radio, any radio there was, they didn't report too much on it. But you'd have heard the guns, and you knew then there was a German aircraft somewhere in the vicinity.
Luftwaffe aircraft used two main routes to attack Northern Ireland. Those leaving from airfields in the Netherlands flew across the North Sea, approaching Belfast from the northeast along Belfast Lough. The aircraft that left from bases in northern France came up the Irish Sea, then of course attacking Belfast more or less from the south. Essentially there were 4 air raids on Belfast by the Luftwaffe. The first occurred on the 7th of April 1941, the second on the 15th of April, and then the last 2 raids occurred on the 4th and 5th of May.
Wartime pilot Bert Smith was at home on leave during the raids on Belfast and recalls seeing the aftermath of the German bombing.
I remember stopping just above the main bend in the Horseshoe Road and looking over the city, and I could see the pattern of where the bombing had taken place. It was widespread bombing of a built-up area. You could have seen debris coming up into there, a long way into there.
long. It would have put you in mind of a fireworks display, only you didn't see it in that order of a fireworks display. You could have seen, you knew those huge fires burning in Belfast. You'd seen them burning high, and the flames going high into the air. And then I suppose what would have been a bomb dropping into them, you'd have seen an explosion of burning debris going into there. Maybe, well, whatever it was, you could have seen big long bits flying in there. Maybe a plank or maybe railings or whatever. You could have seen all that flying into there, which scared you, you know.
And that morning there was a man standing about a few hundred yards from where I lived. And he said, "Are you for the station? Are you for Belfast?" He said he was out with the air raid wardens. He said to me, "Look, Belfast has had a severe bombing, air raids." He said, "It's terrible." Well, when I went to the station, I was the only one there that knew anything about it, and I was telling the ones in the train about it, and they were saying, "Oh, you had a bad dream and everything, you know," and didn't believe me. Well, the train actually went on and through Lisburn, and then it started to slow down and stop and slow down. The next thing at Dunmurry, actually, we were into the smoke.
The Germans' intention was to hit Belfast's industrial heart, and it soon became clear that the bombs had found their target.
Belfast suffered very heavy damage in the 4 raids. Something like 56,000 houses were damaged, 1,100 people were killed. There was about £20 million worth of damage done at wartime values.
It was shocking to see when we did eventually get there to the factory. It was terrible. The damage, I think there was 4 aircraft that were damaged. They couldn't have done it any better, you know, had they been up in a helicopter and dropped the things into it. Only it was Easter Tuesday. I probably would have been on the night shift that night. Actually, where we were working, the roof was off. Had come through the roof.
Unable to work until the debris had been cleared, Leslie and his colleagues headed into the city to see the extent of the damage.
We then went round to various places, Corporation Street and High Street. And High Street, looking along High Street, the telephone and tramway lines were all down and fires burning everywhere. Houses along various places on Corporation Street. There was the front wall, or it might have been a pub. There was a piano actually above still there with the wall blown out.
As far as the people in the street were concerned, they were going about their business. They all, probably like myself, were trying to get somewhere to find out if somebody was all right. But apart from that, there's certainly absolutely, I can't remember one incident of a woman cry or panic.
People were going out with just what they had, just carrying whatever they could carry.
Evacuees came up, and we got plenty of friends out of the evacuees that came up. They came up to live with various people, and they were able to tell us about their house was wrecked or their people were killed or things like that.
With the evacuees, they could have told you their stories. One evacuee that I got pally with and chummed about with, his brother lost his life on the Antrim Road in Belfast. Apparently they took the waterworks for the shipyard, and they pounded the waterworks and all round it. And there was a big loss of life on the Antrim Road around the waterworks. And of course a big loss of life down around the shipyard too.
Really, Belfast's industrial capacity was thoroughly knocked out. So, job well done as far as the Germans were concerned.
Despite the heavy damage caused by the air raids, in fact within a matter of months, aircraft production, for example, was pretty well back to what it had planned to be. In other words, the effects of the air raids had been largely overcome.